Today is the very first day of March 2021. This is the Service Hero Show, 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. My name is Tamara Hunter and I am your host. This is the show where we share inspiring stories of those that are inspiring others. So let's do this. Today we have the Oracle of Apollo, also known as also known as Dominique Rivera. However, she says it so much better than I do. We are going to go though with the title, Oracle.
Yes.
We are going to invite the Oracle in a few moments to share exactly what it is that she's doing. And we are honoring her as the service hero that she is, because she inspires people on a show. She's been inspiring those that are promoting health and wellness. In fact, there was an episode that was interesting not long ago where she was even called onto, and we can talk about this, she was called onto a show that I was doing because of one of the guests that was being honored. Very interesting and real, very exciting that we have these gifts here on this earth for us, and we need to be honoring them for the service and for those that are willing to call themselves up to what it is that they know they need to be doing for others. So let's find out a little bit about the Oracle, and we're going to hear from her from the show opening.
I am the Oracle of Apollo. Come share your light with me. In these messages I follow, restoring balance unto thee. Do not be afraid, you're part of saving grace. Do not hesitate, let's reignite your faith. Divine Encounters alive. Divine Encounters, our lives designed. I am the Oracle of Apollo.
Thanks for joining me, the Oracle of Apollo, Dominique Rivera, and you're watching Divine Encounters. And today, we're going to be doing all of your horoscope, blessings, and forecasts for the beginning of March. Welcome to March. But first, thank you for being here, and make sure you have your high-quality H2O, because this is not a passive viewing experience, but an interactive experience where you're going to be shifting your energy. So cheers to your health, wealth, and prosperity. Oh, that was so
cheers.
Cool.
Cheers to you.
To your health, wealth, and prosperity, always.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm very excited to be here. Well, I put on this very beautiful floral crown. I felt like I was watching some episodes yesterday, and I was feeling very inspired. I'm like, oh, I'm totally wearing my floral crown tomorrow. With the Tour of Love, I was just like, oh, it matches.
I love it. I love it. Yes, the Tour of Love, and here's my Tour of Love.
Oh.
That is actually, we are all about the Tour of Love, and the Service Heroes show actually was started for your information. Now we've told over 500 stories of people that are serving others, and it's all about the energy of giving and serving and inspiring stories of those that are inspiring others. And when I joined the E360tv platform and family, I was excited to meet all of those, because all of us that are on this network are following that calling of serving others. And that's what I love about the network and being a part of it. And you are doing that in such amazing ways. And I want to recognize those that are here with us, joining us right now. And we, of course, have our ambassador, one of our ambassadors for the nonprofit that I am over, the Chemo Buddies for Life, Helene Wilson, one of my buddies. Glad that you're here with us. And Caroline Berzins, one of our senior ambassadors within the program. We have Patty. Patty, I'm so glad you are here with us. I have a feeling you were called to be here with us today. And Helene is welcoming you. We have also Carol is going to be sharing information about how they can be getting a hold of you, and also about your show throughout the show. You have an interesting story, and I have watched some of the shows that you've done with others, and I have watched a number of your shows also, and you have a gift. You were telling me, and then we were having some electrical technical issues before,
which I fixed.
I love it. Yeah, it's looking very good. Good job. You had a reawakening, and you were saying about 7 years ago. I'd love to start there.
Okay. So about 7 years ago, actually maybe closer to 8 now, but I wasn't diagnosed yet, but I was going through a time in my life where this mysterious illness kind of took a hold of me after I came out of the military, and I was in the civilian sector, and this illness kind of took over, and I was bedridden for several weeks, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on with me. My body was so fatigued I couldn't even lift a cup up to be able to drink for myself. And I could barely speak above a whisper. And I remember at that time, my father had just happened to become injured at work. So he blew out his knees, and after working at the same place for 18 years, could no longer work. At the same time, my brother, I have a mentally challenged brother, he had gotten very sick at this time as well. And then my sister was diagnosed with some blood conditions. So it was just like everyone around me all of a sudden just got so ill. And I remember laying in my bed around week 3 of not being able to care for myself or do anything for myself. And I remember looking up and going, God, if there's a God, give me all of my family's pain, or teach me to heal myself, and I will teach as many people as I can how to heal themselves. Shortly after that, that's that state of surrender. You're at your absolute bottom. A green light started floating around me. And this was the first time I had ever seen something like this in the 3D world, in the physical world. And it looked like a lava lamp, like the stuff inside the lava lamp, but green. And it was just free flowing, moving, and just expanding and contracting. And I was just staring at it, like straight focusing on it. And this had followed me for days. So around day 4 or 5, I'd call my mom down the stairs because I'm visiting her house. And I'm like, Mom, there's this green light and it's just been following me everywhere and it's right there. And then she's just real worried look on her face. And she's like, hi, maybe you have brain cancer, because this is a sign of seeing lights is a sign of brain cancer. And I was like, whoa, I was taken back by that. So, of course, I went to the doctors and we did all the tests and everything came back normal. A few weeks later passed and I get this book for Valentine's Day from my life partner. And it is called The Idiot's Guide to Connecting with Your Angels. And I'm dyslexic. So I'm kind of like, why would you get me a book?
For Valentine's.
For Valentine's Day. And angels was not a topic that I believed in. I grew up, I did believe in malevolent forces and dark forces because of my past. And, but for some reason, I just could not fathom that there was this good in the world at this point. Inside the book, I was able to read it from front to back with no effort, with ease. The first time ever I was able to do this. Inside the book, there was a very small chapter about this angel. And it was about this green healing angel. And it described him to the T. that he was green, that he comes when people call upon him, when people need healing energy. And his name was Angel Raphael. And actually, I have a picture of him right here. This is what I was looking for. Let's boop. Angel Raphael. And I was like, oh my goodness, I am not crazy. I am not just seeing things. This is an actual angel. And this was the beginning of what led me onto this beautiful journey of self-awareness and healing, and coming out of a place where I spent years undiagnosed for 5 years before they diagnosed me with posterior orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which affects your autonomous nervous central system. And it took 5 years to get there. But during this time, I was able to continue to connect with Raphael. And as I did, visions began to come in. Energy started to flow in. I started to feel energy for the first time. And a voice came into me and it said, you have to go give this to people as soon as you can. And I was like, how? Nobody knows me. I'm no one. So, and being disabled, they were like, go to the park and just teach. I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't understand why you're asking me to do this. And it was one of those, it was very resistant, because you're kind of like in that zone, like, is this real? Am I making this up? What is this? And so I went to the park and I started to talk about mandalas. That was the first thing. We just went. I said, you know what? If no one shows up, not a big deal. I took some coloring tools. I took some papers. We'll talk about colors. And that first time at the park where I thought no one would arrive, 7 people came. By the end of the summer, I had people coming. I'm in Philadelphia. I had people coming from New York and Boston to hear me speak. And I quite couldn't comprehend why. And then they asked me to do something even more terrifying. They said, we need you to go open a physical place. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? I have no money in my bank account. I'm disabled. How do you exactly plan on doing this? Leave it to us to tell God what the plans are. If you want to see a joke, let him know what you think is going to happen, and he'll laugh right at you. And so it comes to it that my life partner's stepdad's best friend had a store, and it's called Oz Camera. He had this little area of his store that was closed off for 10 years. And he said, you know what? You could borrow it. You could borrow it on Sundays for your little meeting. And when I first went in, I thought it was like 100 feet big, because it was filled with so many boxes, because it was a storage area. I was like, I'll take it. I'll take it. Then universe was like, okay, a step further. You need to rent it. And I was like, how am I going to rent it? I have literally no money. So he tells me, how about this? How about I give you month to month, and if it doesn't work out, don't worry about it. And I was like, what? So I went to Home Depot. I got a gallon of Oops paint. It was like $10. That was like the only thing. Went to the thrift store. I could afford 3 pillows. And then I opened my literal physical building wellness center with $3 in my pocket. No advertising. I just asked universe, please universe, send me who it is that needs to come for this. 25 people came for grand opening. And I say grand opening, but it was a soft opening, because there was no balloons, there was no banner. I couldn't afford any of that. It was just like pray and hope that it happens. So we went, the business opened and stayed open for 6 years, increasing every year around 170% every year. And 1 year before Corona came up, my guides came in and said, you finished. And I said, what? You taught more masters than your teacher did, and you're done. And I said, what? And they said, next March you need to close. And heartbroken, because, you know, I put my sweat, blood, tears, everything that I could give. I'm physically in there, not even able to stand because of my disability. I'm laying on the floor a lot of nights, just laying and praying. And when people would come in, I would service them, and then I'd go back. And when that year came, COVID hit. And that's when they were like, you need to let this go, because we're going to give you something even better. So you need to let this go gracefully. Give back what has been given to you. And so 1 year ago, this March, I closed my center down.
So a year ago, this is the first day of March.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So it was a whole year ago, March. What day did you shut it down?
It was 4 days before the actual COVID news hit. And the week that news hit, my neighborhood of where my store was physically at was devastated by the looting and the riots.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, Caroline.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And I was like, what now? You know, like, what now? You know, I've come out of a disability. You know, it has led me to climb literal mountains and cross the country and cross the world. And here I am. And I'm a teacher. So I was like, what do I do now? So then Lauren Michael Harris here on E360 as well, I called him and I said, this is what happened. And I'm like, I'm asking you what I'm supposed to be doing. He's like, why are you asking me? How am I supposed to know? That's right. And then silence fell on top of him, which I knew would happen. He became silent and he said, you're meant to be on TV. How did I know that? And that's what he said. And I said, okay, thank you. After our conversation, 3 other people from different parts of the country messaged me randomly. I'm using air quotes, randomly, because I hadn't said anything to anyone, and they all had the same message from me. Hi, girl. I have a message from Spirit. You need to be on TV. And so we started Divine Encounters in July last year, 7 months ago.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Maybe this will look familiar.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Divine Encounters. I, the Aquarius, bringing water from the divine. Just like an Aquarius. Look at that. The water bearer. So today we're going to be doing a lot of wonderful things. Thanks for joining me. This is the series premiere of Divine Encounters. I see you guys out there. Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. And I have a spectacular show for you guys today. So this is going to be an interactive show, and everyone here will have an opportunity to not just listen to a message that's coming to you, but to participate and to also open your own inspiration, to allow yourself to really experience this, what this divine essence is. So this show's all about creating divine experiences. Every Sunday night at 7 p.m., I'm going to bring you your angel blessing for the week, your prediction for your horoscope for the week. And every Wednesday night, I'm going to be bringing you a new person that I'll interview, and you'll be able to listen to a divine intervention story, a miracle story coming to you every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And just like I said, this is an interactive program, and I want you guys to know that I'm here to listen and also learn from you. So at the end of the program, I'm going to go ahead and choose one person with a great question, and I will channel an answer for your question. And your question can be about anything. Just put your question in the comments below, and at the end of the program, I'm going to choose one person and answer your question. That's hilarious. And that was only 7 months ago, which is crazy watching that back, because in 7 months, I had to teach myself all the tech stuff, transitions and infographics. The sound quality is way better now. You know, I got soundproofing, and I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not had the money from the store. So when she came through and did the walkthrough and everything was good, I got my deposit back. And that's what I started the show with, was with that deposit.
Wow. Wow. And yes, I agree with you, Susan. How inspiring, right? And we have many that they come and they we're very social on the Service Hero show here. We visit with each other, and the spirit angels are walking here. Yes. And so you are on twice a week. You are, and I love the way you have it, that you spend time. And in fact, I will say this, that the network president, Aaron, we were talking about, you know, using different techniques and everything, and he used your show, because I was asking questions. He used your show as an example of using a couple of cameras and everything, and he was like, she's really got it down. And I'm like, okay, well then that's how I started getting to know you, because it was like an exercise in learning production. And so to think that it was only so many months ago that you started, and now you are being used an example for new hosts that are coming on to the network as to how to do it in a very interesting way.
I cried. Let me tell you how I cried when I found out I had to be on TV. I said, I don't know. This is technology. I sat at this desk and I cried. I said, universe, how am I going to do this? And I called all my friends and everyone was like, girl, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to help you. Like, no one knew how to help me. So I was just like, what do I do from here? So I sat in this desk and when I did that and I meditated, actually a new spirit guide came to me. And some of you may know him if you're from the Spanish community. His name is Walter Mercado. He's an astrologer that passed away last year. He came to me, and I swear on everything that is holy above me. He came to me and told me exactly the format to make, how to make it, everything literally was channeled. The whole show was channeled through Walter Mercado. And I asked him, wow, and why are you here? He's like, you're my first charge. And I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. But that's how it came. That's how it came through a spirit guide, because none of my physical friends knew how to help me.
I love it. So on Sundays, the way that you are serving people, and again, this is the Service Hero Show, inspiring stories of those inspiring others. You inspire those that believe in and are interested to know their horoscopes for the week. And you don't even just go, if you will, with the core birthday horoscope. You go, so like, for example, I'm a Gemini. You will go into the 12 different signs, and then you go into the rising, the moon and all of these. Not everybody understands horoscopes.
Okay.
I would love for you to just in a simple way share, what is it when someone goes into your show to hear about what their week may be looking like, and you're pulling different cards and you're saying, okay, your horoscope, and then your animal, and then all the different things that you share. I would love for you to be able to talk about how that's important to each one of us.
So everybody has a horoscope. Whatever day you were born, that is your sun sign. So here in the United States, we go by sun signs, but other cultures don't. Your moon sign is a sign that tells you how you emotionally respond to the world. Okay? And then your rising sign is the sign that other people see you as. So the way you present yourself at a party, that would be your rising sign. The way you present yourself on camera, that would be your rising sign. And I'm not an astrologer. I have taken astrology courses, but I'm not an astrologer. I am an intuitive, I am a channeler, and I am an oracle. So I basically combined what everybody has, which is a birthday, right? with something visual that's tactile, so that we can get the story. So I'm just using these cards for story, for the purpose of something for you to focus on while I'm moving my mouth. And then they tend to align with what I'm moving my mouth with. So it's not just, okay, there's these random set of cards and we make a story. The information's coming out for the viewers, and then the cards follow. They follow my beat. And then we align that with, I like to do a totem animal. I've always connected with totem animals, and I'm from Puerto Rico, and I was a kid who just loved animals. I grew up thinking I was going to save all the animals. That was my whole thing when I was little. I wanted to save every animal. I still do.
Like a Dr. Dolittle kind of person.
Yes.
With an arc. I'm seeing like this crossover of difference. Okay, yes.
Absolutely. And the thing is that each animal has a medicine for us. And what that means, when we use the word medicine, I'm using it in the sense of something to gain from it. So everything has a medicine. Crystals can have a medicine. A movie can have a medicine. Something that grows inside of you and assists and elevates you is a form of medicine. And so each animal has a spirit, And that embodiment of that spirit, they bring different attributes and characteristics. I have this little frog right here on my desk. So this little frog takes leaps and bounds towards his goals. Not
I love that. Okay,
not little steps, leaps and bounds, all right? And then we have here, this was a gift recently from one of my students who just traveled to Mexico. It's a snake. And snake is all about knowledge, but wisdom, okay? So it's kind of like saying, these are my visual representations reminding me to make sure I'm in my power, to make sure I'm in my wisdom. And that's what these are. These are just the reminders of how I should be behaving this week, because these attributes are going to assist me on my path, my journey, and my goal setting.
Excellent. That makes a lot of sense. And then on the Wednesday nights, you have you're telling stories too, and then love stories. It's the very best way we can remember things, right? And so of people that have had some kind of divine intervention, what does that mean?
So like for me, I feel like I've had many divine intervention, because I physically could not walk from my front of my house to the car if it was parked outside. I was disabled. My boyfriend would give me water, brush my teeth, brush my hair. So a divine intervention is something extreme that has happened in your life that you know was orchestrated by forces that we can't see. It could be a miracle story. It could be a near-death experience, or it could be something as simple as, wow, I keep seeing these numbers and I recognize that there's something greater than me now, which has given me a different outlook on life. And so this is the picture that we're painting. The picture we're painting is, you don't have to do it alone, because you're not. And that if you ask and surrender, you will receive. If you sit and be still, things will clear up. Focus will happen. And you will get on your way. So I want to bring all those people who have used or this has happened to them, bring them on the program so that other people don't feel alone or feel crazy or feel like I'm not worthy or something beautiful like that can't happen for me. Miracles didn't stop because the Bible stopped being written. Miracles happen every single day, and I'm here to scream that from the rooftops.
Oh, yes. In fact, we just were in our closed group for our organization, and I'm actually going to share with you. And so you know, a lot of the people that are here are part of our buddies, and it's interesting how our messages so much align with each other. And that's what I love too about, and that's what I was talking about, the E360 TV platform and family, because we all may have different delivery systems. We may look at different, we may act a little different, we may speak with different languages, on and on and on. And yet when we are heart-centered and we are looking to really help make the world a better place and have healing energy, and that is a focus, truly we are in alignment. May look a little different, might sound a little different, however, in truth, very much the same. And so I'm going to share this with you, and so you understand, because I'm loving this. I'm loving what you do. Here you go.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been showing that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Wow. Wow, that is so heartfelt. I felt that in my core. That's such a beautiful message and so important just to have that ability. It's thank goodness for technology. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
The things that we can do.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think it was explained to you. However, Helene is always looking for something purple. And, and it's often our comedy relief. And yet you talk about color, right?
Yes.
A color is a very important part of what you do. And along with numbers and
yes. Synchronicities, patterns, coincidences.
And so I'm thinking, wow, right now there is no coincidence. In fact, beginning of March today, and then it was a year ago, right in March, because we were supposed to actually have this show a little while ago, and something took place. And I kept thinking there was a reason for it. There has to be a reason for it, because that always is what happens. And now I understand it a lot more, because I've been joking with everybody, like, okay, what do we do? We're almost a whole year into this. Do we have a party? Bring your own toilet paper. I mean, what is it that we do, right? And yet, what an opportunity. And you're right. Technology and bringing us all together. And think about the fact that a year ago, who would have ever thought you would be on a TV show, your own show, where now you're helping people to understand that they don't have to be alone, and that they can also, within that they can find their own light, their own purpose, their own, and validate their passions, what it is that they feel that they're supposed to be doing, and doing it in a way that's fun too, because your shows are fun. You make it fun.
I try to encompass things. See, when I built How, I was alone. I felt alone. I was always misunderstood growing up. I always was the anomaly of my friends. Old soul, as they called me. I would go with the kids to the beach. They would play in the water. I would sit and I would read a book. And my mom thought there was something wrong with me. But I felt like I wanted to create a show where even if a skeptic came on to watch the show, they have an opportunity to silently not just view, but participate. So we have a moment where we have an awareness exercise so that people can tap in. We have a moment where energy is being sent through the TV for people at home to receive. And then we have a moment where they can also build their intuition and play a game and tap into that. So we've all revolved around the story, of course, but it still gives them snippets of there's more. And here's a little taste. Here's a little breadcrumb. Maybe that will open you up just enough so that you can go search and discover for yourself now.
I love it. So you have been talking about the fact that you were disabled and unable to walk, from your door to your car.
Yeah.
And that you were receiving help to even brush your teeth.
Yes.
How were you disabled? Was that from your time in the service, or what happened?
So POTS kind of came on out of the blue, as they say. It's thought they don't really understand how POTS is activated in the body. The idea behind it is maybe we've had enough physical trauma in the body that it kind of off-centers the nervous system, and that's how it begins. I've had a lot of car accidents, and I've had a lot of just accidents in general. And so I could see how that could just kind of come up. Okay. But for me, I feel like it was a soul lesson that I chose to go through so that way I can experience the contrast of being completely fully able-bodied, being able to run 14, 15, 20 miles in the military, to coming to now I need help. And then coming through that, learning how to get through that, and then bringing people through that as well. Wednesday night, we had one of my students come on, a success student, and she talked about her healing journey. When she came to me originally, she had so much pain. She wasn't living life at all. And that's the type of people that were coming to me, were people who were just no longer living and enjoying life. And through Reiki and integrated energy therapy and meditation, these were the building blocks for healing. And it has brought me through to the other side. To the point where at Howell, we also had a cancer program when we had Howell. and we invited Reiki practitioners to service patients who were currently receiving cancer treatments, and give them Reiki over the phone, because it has so much value.
Right. And in truth, my clinic, the doctor that was in that clip, and yes, Susan, I love it too. I love our video because it really shares what our message is all about. And the doctor that's in that is my doctor when I was receiving my treatment, and came through it. And one of the reasons I chose that clinic and to work with that doctor was because of the fact that they understood how important it was to be adjunctive in our way of healing. That yes, they went with the standard of care, traditional standard of care. However, then they were also, if there were other any practices, anything that would make sense that wasn't going to work counteractive to the standard of care, that could be in addition to, if nothing else, would not hurt and could possibly help, is how it was always said. I completely believed in that, and that was something I looked for. And Reiki is one of the practices that even our brick and mortar location in my area where I live, they offer it as one of the, healing practices for those that are helping, going through a cancer journey at this very moment in time, in that chapter of their life book. And for those that don't understand what Reiki is, what would you tell them?
So Reiki is a practice. It was brought over to the United States around 1920, so it's a fairly young practice. And it was brought over by a man named Dr. Mikao Usui from Japan. And the idea behind this is that he wanted to be able to give people the ability to heal themselves without depleting their own energy reserves, or to heal other people without depleting their own energy reserves. Now, people might think that this is woo-woo, but it really isn't, because if we start to look at brain plasticity, we understand that the brain is malleable and things can shift and turn. So basically what this is a tool so that way you can assess your emotional body, recognize what is within the emotional body, and then move it where it needs to go. So if you're lacking in a department, you can receive more energy, electricity. We are electrical beings. So this electricity induces blood flow, circulation, and healing, but also assists in relaxation, which is where our healing really takes place, is when we are relaxed and de-stressed. And if we have all these complicated feelings, especially going through something so arduous as cancer, and we're in that mindset of what if, we're building anxiety, there's old fears coming up, you're not going to be too much in a state of healing. So applying a practice like this is really going to calm you down, allow you to bring control back, allow you to notice what's there, and then allow you to feel empowered to let it go when it no longer serves you. And all done with the hands. And anyone can learn this. I've taught this to doctors and engineers. My best clients are scientists. So it's kind of, yes. And the majority of my circle are engineers, doctors, and scientists. And
love it.
I love it too. And that's because they find the value in it. So it's not so much explain it, but it's one of those things like, you can't really see the value until you experience it for yourself, because you're going to just keep asking questions and asking questions. And I feel like for those people who just keep asking questions, that should be the door knocker to your life saying, hey, there might be something here for you. You should go check it out. You know?
There you go. I love it. And so come and receive your blessing that is here. For you believe it and take it, and the angels are here with you. And okay, so I do want to go into a couple of other things that I have heard you on your shows talk about, and that is we've kind of talked about numbers in a way. However, that numbers or signs or different things can sometimes, or the questions, like you were just saying. Okay, so if you're having questions in regards to it, maybe check it out. Maybe it is something that you need to know more about. The universe, whatever your belief system is saying this is something for you. numbers can be that way. And also, you were talking not long ago to Lauren about crystals and stones and the energy of those, that then I heard something I never heard before, and that was, you were saying, yeah, then how the moon recharge it.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, whoa, recharge by the moon. I never heard anything like that before. And so that, of course, was very interesting to me. And so is it because of the fact that the crystals come from the earth revolves around the moon or the sun, and the moon hangs with us too? How does that all work?
So when we're talking about crystals, because you talked about synchronicities and crystals, so let's talk about crystals first.
Okay.
So crystals are made in the earth, right?
Right.
So they are a living thing because they do grow, kind of like your plant. They grow. And they emit a certain vibration, and they emit a frequency, which is quantifiable. Now, the moon is the closest celestial body to the planet, and it affects us in a lot of ways. You see the rising and lowering of tides, the changing of the seasons. Without the moon, things would be cataclysmic. She's needed, okay? Ancient Greek astronomers say that the moon is feminine energy, and it is thought to be the embodiment of emotions. So it represents emotions. And the moon is a reflective energy. So it's taking energy from the sun, reflecting it back subtly to us in an emotional state so that we can become aware. Crystals, they become depleted because their energy is being used by us when we have them in our presence, and they go into like a lethargic mode. So placing them outside in the moon to regain energy helps them and helps you, because now you can reuse your crystal and it will be supercharged, kind of like when your cell phone battery is about to go out, you plug it into the wall, the crystal goes back to nature, back to what its natural state is, and receiving that energy from the earth or the moon in this case.
I love it. Okay, that makes absolute sense. Now, synchronicity.
The synchronicities. Okay, so if I had not paid attention to that green light, and I didn't ask a question, I could have just sat there, angry, upset that life's not happening for me, angry, upset, scared because I'm going to be stuck in this bed for the rest of my life. And had I not followed that, or at least opened myself, you can be a skeptic. I was a mechanic, okay? I was a very tactile human being. And I'm still a very tactile human being. I'm a very analytical person, and I'm an Aquarius. So by nature, I've always been that annoying friend that had to ask you why, because I needed to know why everything works. You need to give me a good reason. And so with that, I'm saying, if you see it repeat in your life, and this is not just numbers, but this is even people. You might notice, I had a boyfriend. He treated me bad. I broke up with boyfriend. I moved to another side of the country. For some reason, this new guy I'm dating is the exact boyfriend that I left all the way over there. These are patterns. They're synchronicities, and they're trying to teach you something. So where are you at in your life where you're noticing the same pattern? Because that pattern has a lesson for you to discover. And until you discover it, you're not going to move forward. So you're not going to have growth until you become aware and integrate the lesson that pattern has for you. And numbers are a really good way of that, because they bring your attention to something otherwise that you may have not noticed. Like for Lauren's numbers, it was 444. Right. And that number was a number of, hey, you got to focus now. He was like, oh, like I get it now. I really haven't been very focused, but I got it.
You could tell you have a really great relationship, the two of you, and loved watching the interchange, between the two.
I had to bring Lauren on my bandwagon. I was like, Lauren, when I met him, hold on, 2-second story.
I love it. Go for it.
I was told by Spirit to go find this black man, bald black man, just like that, across the country. I'm in Philadelphia. I was told to go to California to find this man. I didn't know who they were talking about. All I knew is that he would be in a pyramid. And I was just like, what? A pyramid? I'm sick at this point, and I'm like, I don't even fathom how am I going to go across the country by myself and find this person. I get there in California with $12 in my pocket. I am there for an entire week. I literally only Ubered one time and got into cars with strangers the entire rest of the week because I was being guided to do so. And in this guidance, I wound up at this seminar, which was held in a giant glass pyramid where Lauren was sitting in the back at, and I was giving an energy session to my friend who was going to do a talk, and Lauren comes over, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, what do you want to find out? And he's like, well, maybe, is it good? And I was like, yes, it is. And I did it just like that. I did it just like that. So he got his energy session, and they revealed some things to me that was in the works that no one knew about him, and I gave it to him. But then he said, this felt like an internal hug. I can't even describe it in any other way, but I'm being embraced by the loving arms of all that is. And those were his words. And so now he's on my bandwagon, and I'm teaching him how to work with angels.
I love it.
Because that's what I teach.
I love it. Okay, so one of the other questions I do have is, how did you then figure out and understand that you are the Oracle of Apollo?
Oh, boy.
I mean, because that's huge.
That is huge. And this took me 2 years of fighting myself to accept this title. One day I was in my bedroom, and this is when everything started opening. My third eye started opening. At this time, universe was trying to convince me that I could see. And I said, absolutely not, I can't see. And they started giving me information about things that hadn't happened yet on the news, big things, when this was years ago. So it was like this plane had disappeared, and they had showed it to me, and I was like, whoa, what is that? And it would happen when I'm awake. This is not a dream. I'm just sitting in my room, and it would be like if someone covered your eyes and then forced you to look into binoculars of something completely different.
Right.
And so this happened for a little while. And it started freaking me out. And I said, universe, I'm freaked out because you're showing me really bad stuff I can't do nothing about. And it made me really sad because it was always true. But really what they were teaching me was, you have the gift of sight, and we need to give you direct understanding of what this means, what this entails, and its responsibility. One night I was in my room, I turned off the light, and I heard I was sleeping actually. I woke up. But when I opened my eyes, I was actually sitting up in my bed already. And my eyes opened, and I was already sitting. So I was already sitting before I woke up. And I heard a Grecian voice say, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm thinking someone broke in my house. I turn on the lights, I grab a bat, I'm looking all around my house. I'm like, who's there? Nobody's there. Go back in my room, turn the light back off. Dominique. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm freaking out. All I could say was, who is that? Who is that? And I heard Apollo. And then I yelled, Adrian, like in the Rocky movie, Adrian. I really did that because when I get nervous, I make jokes. I didn't get a reply. I did not get a reply back. So a few days later, the voice came back again. And then he started to give me information about myself and my past. I started to have memories of places I've never been, well, in this life, of places I've never been, and things I couldn't even really recognize. And as all this information started coming in, I started to understand them as truths. And when I would look them up, like in the internet, they were real. Like they were real places with the real things that happened. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I know these things? So he told me that Apollo did, that I was his oracle, and that the reason I was chosen was because I was the strongest of his oracles. And I had a mission of bringing truth and clarity into the world, and that I would be the human voice of the divine, speaking on their behalf and bringing foresight and prophecy to people all around. And that was a long time ago now, and I'm okay with it, and I love it. So thank you, Apollo.
And so now, does that weigh on you at all?
It weighed on me those 2 years. It was like that resistance, that clash of this is I'm making this up. This is ideas of grandeur. Absolutely not. Who can be that? And through my healing practices, through my meditations, through every single journey I got, it was just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And although I was afraid, it was just like I was still curious, because that Aquarius nature is like, but why?
Yeah. Why?
And so, you know, I just kept digging. I guess I was a glutton for punishment. I was just kept digging. And I came to accept it, because it was like, okay, I do know these things. And even if I told myself 100 times till my face was blue that I don't, I do. And that's the reality. And this is going to help people. And so I started testing it. I started doing little channelings here and there, and they were always accurate. And then I started doing big channelings. And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I started going to do expos and go to the college and go to do gallery readings. And here I am. And most recently, my ability to read in mediumship has grown very recently, within the last month. And this is something I really didn't focus on in my life. And now it's everywhere.
In the last month, what?
Mediumship. It is the ability to bring information from beloved, departed loved ones, and bring that into the now to show that consciousness still exists beyond the physical vessel.
Amazing. I have one more clip to share with everybody, and then we're going to start wrapping things up, and we're going to answer some questions.
Hi, I'm the Oracle of Apollo, Dominique Rivera, and I am a Reiki Master, Integrated Energy Therapy Master Instructor, and a multi-dimensional trance medium. So I will be trance channeling on your behalf to petition the Greek god Apollo. You can also connect to Ascended Masters, your spirit guides, your power animals, or crossed over loved ones as well. You can ask them questions. You can receive any healings from me or spiritual coaching as well. So thank you for choosing me if I resonate with you, and I will see you at the expo.
So you can basically, if people show up and they've got something going on, it could be that they are missing someone that's passed, or they're seeing things and they're just not understanding, but there's an energy coming from it that they need a little bit of interpretation, a little help with, or that they know that they can be feeling better, they believe in the healing practices. So that makes a lot of sense for someone that would show up and ask for some help. What about those?
I get the people who don't believe. First of all,
that's what I was just going to ask.
When I was in the Army, no one ever challenged me about my career. They just go, "Oh, great, that's what you do," and they're so happy to see me. When I tell people what I do, it's immediately like, like if I stole their puppy when they were little or something. Really, like I am not greeted very well. But you know what? It's those people with that skepticism. I understand that. That was me. I was that person. So I can't be upset that other people are not going to understand it, because I was force-fed experience that I had to then accept. Right. So with these people, they're the ones that wind up being my best clients, honestly. They really do. They wind up being the best clients. They wind up being the people who get healed the quickest. And it's because they're just open. So, you know, it's like, it's okay to be skeptic. Just be open. You know, life is more about five senses. The world is too old. The galaxy is too large to just be like, it's only this way and this way only. You're going to miss a lot of life.
Well, and that's why it makes sense why you have so many scientists, engineers, and such, because that's that real, you know, it's this way, or, you know, like science and
oh yeah, it blows their mind.
It's all concrete. There's no abstract there. You know, it's like, okay, this is the way it works. It's all mathematically proven, on and on and on. However,
and right now, I'm working with a team right now for virtual reality. You probably can see my headset somewhere on my wall over there. And right now we're working on the connected experience. So I'm working with an engineer and a developer, and what we're doing is creating a haptic system that tunes into your frequency of your body, that can be emitted through the headset for healing and learning and expansion. And we're doing this as a team. So we're creating a prototype that's actually going to the World Global Summit in Australia this month on the 22nd and 23rd.
Wow. Okay. So we're talking a whole year, after, this whole month of March, I'm like getting goosebumps in my knees. That's how, and so it's like, okay, how exciting. So you have followed, and sometimes it sounds as though you had to, and it's encouraging, inspiring stories to inspire others. It's encouraging that when you questioned, it was like, yeah, right, yeah. However, and when it kept showing up and you then took those steps, you have now embraced what it is that you are doing to help others. You are about helping others. And my last question is this. When you were talking about the blessing cards and the angel cards, there is a difference when it comes to different types of cards out there, right? And you're all about the light. Isn't that correct?
Yes. I am about the light, but I want to not deter people from looking into the dark, because the dark does not necessarily equate bad or evil. The dark is where we put our suppressed emotions, where we felt like that our love would be rejected if we were to express this facet of ourselves. So someone who's very opinionated growing up, if they're told, you talk too much, you're a girl, you should be seen and not heard, guess what? That beautiful extrovert personality gets pressed into her shadow. So the shadow is not something to be feared. It is something to be looked into and embraced. So I am in the light and I am in the shadow, because that's where your unity. You have to understand what your hurts mean to you and what you're carrying around. And the only way to do that is to be courageous and to feel the fear and then go look anyways.
I love it. So as we get prepared to close, your show, again, on the E360 TV network, you are on the Fresh Takes channel, correct?
I am on the Fresh Takes channel, and I am live streaming Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern and Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sunday is the horoscopes with all of the development, and Wednesday is supernatural story time.
Love it. And when they show up, they just need to be patient on those Sunday nights for when their particular horoscope is going to be showing up, and there's no order, right? It just, however,
it's random order, just for kicks. But then after the show airs, I do timestamp everything. So for people who want to be expedited right into their little field, it's already there at the top on the comment section, where your signs are at. And if you're visiting, stay for the good news, do the Apollo games, and definitely try a divine experience. That's the whole shebang. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
I love it. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on to the Service Hero Show and being that person that is absolutely out there. You've embraced your calling, and now you are serving others, and you've served us well today. I hope that you have felt the honor of knowing that we value the fact that you are showing up. Thank you for being the service hero that you are. Thank you for serving so many through this amazing forum on the E360 TV platform and all the other methods and ways that you show up for the world. I want to say thank you for your service.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. We will be back on Wednesday at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for another inspiring story. See you all then.